My dear friend, as the sun rises gently over the horizon, may this new morning find you wrapped not in fear but in faith. May you open your eyes today with a quiet knowing that the God who made the stars has not forgotten your name, your pain, or your tears. Yes, child of God, you may be weary in the body, but you are not defeated in the spirit. This morning let your heart whisper, Lord, I am here. I am ready to be healed. For healing is not only found in medicine, nor is recovery found only in the hands of time. True healing begins in the soul. It begins when you believe that the same God who breathed life into dust can breathe strength into your bones, peace into your mind, and hope into your tomorrow. So let us pray together. The prayer, Heavenly Father, in the quiet morning light I come before you. My body has felt the weight of sickness. My heart has carried the heaviness of pain, but my spirit still reaches for you, because you are my healer, my comforter, my unshaken place of rest. Lord, touch my body. Lay your hands upon every aching part of me. Restore what has been weakened. Rebuild what has been broken. Repair what has been worn down by days of struggle and nights of tears. Father, breathe healing into every cell. Let your power flow like a warm river, calming inflammation, dissolving discomfort, and bringing life into every space where pain once lived. Lord, where there is anxiety, bring assurance. Where there is fear, bring courage. Where there is confusion, bring clarity. Where there is exhaustion, bring divine strength. God, heal not only my flesh, but the hidden places people cannot see. Heal the worries that kept me awake. Heal the disappointment that drained me. Heal the doubt that tried to tell me I would never recover. This morning, O Lord, I choose faith. I choose joy. I choose to believe you still perform miracles. I choose to rise, even if slowly, even if carefully, because I know the hand that lifts me is yours. Father, surround me with angels of healing. Let your peace be my medicine. Let your presence be my therapy. Let your word be the lamp that guides me back to strength, back to life, back to the fullness that you promised. And Lord, as I move through this day, walk beside me. Whisper encouragement into my soul. Let my recovery be a testimony, and let my healing be a reminder that nothing is too broken for you to restore. Thank you, Lord, for hearing my prayer. Thank you for the healing already on the way. Thank you for the recovery that has begun even now. In Jesus' mighty name I pray, amen. Healing begins long before the body ever feels relief. It begins in the quiet sanctuary of the soul, where the whisper of God meets the deepest part of you. Long before your limbs regain strength, long before your breath steadies and your heartbeat calms, something sacred begins to stir inside. A gentle shift, a holy awakening, a warm remembrance of who holds you and who heals you. My dear friend, the body may ache and the bones may tremble, but the soul knows the way home. When sickness creeps in, when pain becomes a daily companion, the world tries to teach you that healing is found only in pills, procedures, and time. But the wise spirit knows something different. The wise spirit leans into faith, for it has seen storms before. The soul remembers nights when you thought you would break, yet here you stand. The soul remembers mornings when sorrow sat heavy on your chest, but somehow you rose again. And that same soul whispers to you now, child, healing is already happening. Do not fear. For the soul is the birthplace of strength. The body may have limits, but the spirit, the spirit is boundless. When you feed it faith, feed it hope, feed it gratitude, something miraculous begins to unfold inside. You start to rise in ways you haven't risen before. You begin to see that pain is not your identity. Illness is not your name. Weakness is not your destiny. The soul speaks a different truth, that God is still working, still mending, still shaping, still breathing life into places that felt forgotten. Even in your weary moments, your soul is fighting battles your body knows nothing about. When your mind feels tired, when your heart feels overwhelmed, the soul stands tall like an ancient tree whose roots run deep. The winds of sickness may blow, but they cannot uproot what God has planted. The waves of pain may crash, but they cannot drown what God has strengthened. And so the soul becomes your anchor, your refuge, your quiet reminder that healing begins unseen. Healing starts in the decision to believe that you deserve it. It begins the moment you say, Lord, I trust you. It begins when you surrender, not in defeat, but in divine partnership, knowing that God is doing a work in you even when you cannot feel it. Healing begins when you choose to let go of fear, because fear tightens the body, clouds the mind, and cages the heart. But faith loosens every knot inside you. Faith opens every window. Faith lets the fresh breath of God sweep through your spirit like a cleansing wind. And what does the soul do with that breath? It expands. It rises. It renews. It begins the healing work that medicine cannot measure and doctors cannot chart. It restores hope. It calms anxiety. It reminds you that you are seen, you are held, and you are loved by the one who knit you together with intention and care. The soul knows the language of healing. It knows how to rest when the world expects you to worry. It knows how to breathe slowly when your circumstances try to rush you. It knows how to trust when your flesh wants to fear. It knows how to keep believing when the body feels tired of trying. And so, even when sickness lingers, the soul keeps singing its quiet song. Hold on. God is still here. Healing is not simply the absence of pain, it is the presence of peace. And peace does not come from the outside. It flows from within, from the soul that has learned to lean on God. A peaceful soul can carry a tired body. A peaceful soul can hold steady in the storm. A peaceful soul can cradle your heart until the rest of you catches up. Yes, my friend, the soul is the first responder to your suffering, before the body knows how to recover, before the mind knows how to think clearly again. The soul reaches upward like a flower searching for the sun, even in the dark, and God meets it there. He meets it in the trembling prayer. He meets it in the broken whisper. He meets it in the tear that falls without warning. He meets it because he has never left. Healing begins when you stop asking, why am I hurting? And start saying, Lord, be with me in my hurt. Because the presence of God is more powerful than the absence of pain. His companionship is the medicine that moves mountains inside you, mountains of fear, mountains of doubt, mountains of despair. And when God begins healing your soul, everything else begins to follow. The body listens to the soul, the mind responds to the soul. The heart aligns with the soul. And soon what began as a spiritual restoration becomes a physical renewal. Your breath deepens, your mind clears, your strength slowly returns. Your hope becomes tangible again. Healing begins in the soul because the soul is the foundation of everything you are. A strong foundation can hold a fragile body. A peaceful foundation can soothe a troubled mind. A faith-filled foundation can withstand a season of sickness. And so God starts there, quietly, gently, intentionally, rebuilding what life has tried to break. My dear friend, never forget, the miracle does not begin when the pain disappears. The miracle begins when the soul believes that recovery is possible. When you wake up and whisper, Lord, heal me, the miracle has already begun. When you choose faith in the middle of agony, the miracle has already begun. When you decide to rise slowly, carefully, but with courage, the miracle has already begun. The soul is where God plants his healing first. And once it takes root, everything else, your body, your energy, your peace, your joy, begins to blossom in its own time. So hold your head high, even if your body feels weak. Lift your spirit, even if your steps are slow. Your healing has already started because it started in the most powerful place, the soul God created, the soul God loves, the soul God refuses to abandon. There is a sacred power that moves through the air when God draws near. It is not loud, not boastful, not demanding. It does not arrive with trumpets or thunder. Instead, it comes like a soft whisper curling around the edges of your spirit, reminding you that you are not walking this journey alone. In the quiet moments when your heart aches and your body trembles, his presence becomes a gentle blanket laid across your shoulders, warming the places that life has left cold and trembling. For when God is near, peace comes. When God is near, strength rises. When God is near, restoration becomes not just a hope but a promise. There are days when sickness tries to suffocate your joy, when pain stretches across your body like an unwanted shadow. There are mornings when rising from bed feels like lifting mountains with your bare hands. But even then, especially then, the Lord leans close. You may not always feel Him in the tremors of your pain, but He feels you. He knows the cries you hold in your throat. He knows the sleepless nights that leave your mind hazy. He knows the worry that tightens around your chest like a tightened rope. And with that deep knowing, He brings His presence like sunrise after a long night. God is not a distant watcher. He is a present healer. He walks into your difficulty with the confidence of one who has conquered every battle you will ever face. When your heart feels overwhelmed, He is the calm in the center of your storm. When your body feels weak, His strength becomes the unseen force that holds you upright when you should have fallen. When your mind becomes clouded with fear, His voice becomes the light that cuts through the fog. His presence does more than comfort, it restores. He restores the tired mind that has grown weary from thinking too much and sleeping too little. He restores the broken heart that has tried to be brave for far too long. He restores the body that whispers, "I cannot keep going," and He answers with, "Yes, you can, because I am with you." The divine presence of God is not just spiritual. It is healing. When you sit in His presence, something shifts deep inside. It may be gentle at first, like a soft rustling of leaves on a quiet morning, but over time it becomes a mighty river, washing away discouragement, washing away despair, washing away that heavy burden that sat on your chest like a stone that would not move. Oh, my dear friend, let me tell you, God's presence is medicine. Not the kind that comes in bottles or tablets, but the kind that wraps around your spirit and whispers life back into dry places. It is the medicine that soothes the anxious mind, the medicine that quiets the restless soul, the medicine that strengthens the trembling knees of the weary-hearted. His presence moves through you with intention, touching each hurting part with divine tenderness. You are not meant to carry your pain alone, not your physical pain, not your emotional pain, not your spiritual pain. God walks with you through every valley, and not as a distant guide, but as a close companion. When your tears fall, they do not fall unnoticed. When your prayers come out broken and breathless, He catches every word. When your hope flickers small and faint, He shields it from the wind until it burns bright again. There is a profound beauty in knowing that the God who formed galaxies holds your fragile body with the same care. He is not intimidated by your sickness. He is not surprised by your weakness. He is not discouraged by your pain. He is the God who steps into broken places with healing in His hands. The God who walks into hospital rooms, quiet bedrooms, and weary hearts with a confidence that says, "This is not the end." And when God enters, peace follows like a loyal friend. Peace that does not depend on the condition of your body. Peace that is not determined by the doctor's report. Peace that does not waver when the pain rises. Peace that holds you steady like an anchor in the deep waters of fear. His presence brings a strength that is not loud but unshakable. It is the strength that helps you stand up on days when your body says stay down. It is the strength that helps you breathe deeper, knowing that you are held by grace. It is the strength that tells your weary soul, keep going. Healing is on the way. And then there is restoration. God restores in layers. He restores the body slowly, gently, tenderly, like a master craftsman repairing a precious work of art. He restores the heart more quickly because it has been bruised by worry, by fear, by the loneliness that sickness can bring. And He restores the soul instantly because the soul recognizes His presence like an old friend returning home. Restoration does not always come with fireworks. Sometimes it comes quietly, one breath at a time, one prayer at a time, one morning at a time. You may look in the mirror and see weakness, but God looks at you and sees recovery unfolding. You may feel like progress is slow, but God sees you healing in ways you do not yet notice. You may think you are barely getting through the day, but God sees you standing with courage when giving up would have been easier. In His presence, you are not just surviving, you are being rebuilt. He is rebuilding your hope. He is rebuilding your strength. He is rebuilding your confidence. He is rebuilding the parts of you that life has tried to take away. So breathe deeply, my friend. Not because everything is perfect, but because the one who is perfect is with you. Lean into his presence, like a weary traveler leaning on a strong tree. Rest in his presence like a child resting safely in the arms of love. Trust in his presence as a river. Trust the ocean it flows toward. For God is not just near you, he is within you. And where he dwells, healing follows. Where he moves, restoration begins. Where he touches, miracles grow. And as long as God walks with you, your sickness is not the final word, your pain is not the end of your story, and your recovery is already unfolding like morning light breaking through the darkest night. When the body trembles and the mind grows weary, prayer becomes more than a habit. It becomes a lifeline the soul holds on to. In those moments when your strength is slipping through your fingers like sand, when even the smallest movement feels heavy, prayer steps in with the tenderness of a mother and the authority of God himself. It is in the fragile hours when the world is quiet and your heart is loud that prayer reveals its true power. It does not simply ask, it transforms. It does not simply speak, it strengthens. It does not simply rise toward heaven, it pulls heaven down to meet you right where you are. There is a certain courage that grows in the human spirit when prayer is spoken from a place of weakness. Not the loud, boastful courage of those who have no battles, but the deep, trembling courage of those who keep showing up even when life has wounded them. When you bow your head in pain, when you breathe out a whisper because that is all you have left, that whisper becomes a mighty roar in the ears of God. For he does not listen to volume, he listens to sincerity. He listens to the heart that says, Lord, I am tired, but I still believe. Prayer is the bridge between your weakness and God's strength. When your knees buckle under the weight of sickness, prayer becomes the pillar that holds you upright. When your hands grow numb from holding on too long, prayer becomes the warmth that fills them with hope again. Prayer is not an escape from your struggle, it is the instrument that shapes your spirit while you walk through the struggle. It gives you a strength that medicine cannot prescribe and logic cannot measure. You may feel weak, but through prayer God makes you strong in all the right places. There is a quiet transformation that happens when you pray in your lowest moments. The world may not see it. They may look at your tired eyes and think you are defeated. They may watch your slow steps and think you are slipping away. But they do not see the invisible force rising inside you. They do not see the divine courage being poured into your bones. They cannot see the fire God lights in your spirit when you whisper, "Help me, Lord." The body may feel fragile, but prayer builds a fortress around your soul. The mind may feel scattered, but prayer gathers the broken pieces and holds them close. The heart may feel heavy, but prayer becomes the hands that lift it gently toward the light. Oh, my dear friend, prayer is the language of strength for people who feel they have none left. It is the breath of the weary, the song of the exhausted, the hope of the discouraged. When your body feels too weak to fight, prayer fights for you. When your spirit is dim like a fading candle, prayer shields its flame until it burns bright again. Some people think strength comes from muscles or boldness or energy. But you and I, we know a softer, deeper truth. Strength is born in surrender. Strength comes when you surrender your fears to God and say, I cannot do this alone. That simple confession unlocks the floodgates of divine power, and God begins to pour into you the kind of strength that no storm can steal. Strength through prayer does not always come as thunder. Sometimes it comes as breath, as a calmness in your chest where anxiety used to live, as a new courage rising where fear once grew, as an unexpected peace that flows through you like warm water, soothing the places where pain has tried to settle. You may not notice the strength right away. At first it may feel like nothing is changing. But prayer is a seed planted in the soil of your spirit. It works quietly, faithfully, rooted in divine love. And as you keep praying, not perfectly, not loudly, just sincerely, God waters that seed with his presence. Day by day, moment by moment, strength begins to grow. Courage begins to bloom. Confidence begins to whisper. You will rise. You will overcome. Prayer invites God into your weakest places. And where God enters, weakness cannot stay the same. He steps into your trembling emotions and they begin to settle. He steps into your tired thoughts and clarity begins to return. He steps into your aching body and healing begins to rise like dawn over a dark horizon. Even if the pain is slow to leave, even if the sickness lingers longer than you wish, prayer shifts your posture from despair to hope. And hope, oh, hope, is powerful medicine. Hope is the anchor that holds you steady in the storm. Hope is the lamp that shines through long nights. Hope is the promise that God is not finished with you yet. Every prayer you pray is a declaration that you are choosing faith over fear, even when fear feels louder. Every time you pray, you remind the darkness that it cannot keep you down. Every whispered prayer is a step toward healing. Every tear-filled prayer is a step toward recovery. Every trembling prayer is a step toward victory. Prayer strengthens you not just for the day, but for the journey. It strengthens your spirit so you can face tomorrow with courage. It strengthens your mind so you can think clearly in the midst of uncertainty. It strengthens your body by lifting the emotional weight that sickness often brings. You may not know how strong you are becoming. You may not see the transformation yet. But each morning that you pray, each moment you whisper God's name, you are rising higher. You are becoming stronger. You are stepping closer to the healing God has promised. So keep praying, dear heart. Pray when the pain rises. Pray when the fear whispers. Pray when the body grows tired. Pray when you feel like giving up. Because prayer is where strength is born, and strength is what carries you into your miracle. Even in your weakest moments, God is shaping something powerful inside you. Something steady, something unbreakable, something holy. And soon you will look back on these days and realize that the strength you prayed for was growing in you all along, quietly, faithfully, beautifully, through every single prayer you dared to speak. There is a sacred rhythm to healing, a tempo that does not always match the beat of your desire. You may want the pain gone today, the sickness lifted this hour, the restoration complete by morning. But God, in His infinite wisdom, moves with a different grace. He heals in gentle seasons, in unfolding chapters, in holy increments. Recovery is not a race, it is a journey, a sacred walk of faith where each step, no matter how small or trembling, carries you closer to the wholeness God has promised. Healing does not always arrive like a lightning strike. More often it comes like sunrise, slow, soft, and faithful. One moment you are surrounded by darkness, unsure if the morning will ever return. Then suddenly a thin ribbon of light stretches across the horizon of your life. That, my dear friend, is how God heals. Quietly, steadily, tenderly. He does not rush His work because His work requires care. He is rebuilding you piece by piece, breath by breath, day by day. There will be mornings when you wake and feel a little better without knowing why. There will be nights when the pain softens long enough for you to rest. There will be moments, small, sacred moments, when peace rises inside you even though nothing around you has changed. These are signs of healing. These are the quiet whispers of God saying, I am working, child. Keep walking. You may grow frustrated. You may wonder why the journey feels long. You may sit in your room holding your head in your hands asking why healing seems to move so slowly. But understand this, God is not merely healing your body. He is strengthening your spirit. He is stretching your faith. He is shaping you into someone who knows how to trust Him deeply, not only when life is good, but especially when life is painful. Recovery is not an event. It is a relationship with God. He walks with you through every valley. He waits with you in every quiet room. He holds you through the sharp moments when pain makes you clench your teeth and squeeze your eyes shut. And even when you question Him, He does not leave. Even when you grow weary, He does not step back. Even when you fear the worst, He holds you with a love that will not let go. Some days healing looks like progress. Some days healing looks like patience. Some days healing looks like simply making it through. But every day healing is happening, even when you cannot see it. Think of a seed buried deep in the soil. It looks still. It looks silent. It looks forgotten. But under the surface it is expanding, cracking open, reaching for the light it cannot yet see. That is how your healing is unfolding. Beneath the surface of your struggle, God is stretching you, strengthening you, preparing you to rise with more beauty and resilience than before. Do not despise the slow days. Do not dismiss the small improvements. Do not overlook the gentle mercies that God plants along the path. Sometimes healing is the pain easing by just a little. Sometimes healing is the strength to take another step. Sometimes healing is the courage to say, I will try again tomorrow. God counts every small attempt as faith. Recovery demands trust. Deep, unwavering trust. Trust that God sees what you cannot. Trust that He is moving even when the room is silent. Trust that He is guiding the hands of doctors, strengthening your immune system, comforting your heart, and whispering courage into your spirit. You see, healing is not just physical. Healing is emotional. Healing is mental. Healing is spiritual. And God works on all of these layers at once. Sometimes the body is the last part to show the miracle because the deeper parts of you needed His touch first. The journey may feel lonely, but you are never alone. The road may feel long, but you are always guided. The nights may feel heavy, but God sits with you in every breath of it. He does not simply heal your sickness. He heals your relationship with hope. He heals the broken belief that you are abandoned. He heals the secret fear that you are too weak to recover. And with every passing day, He teaches you to stand taller, breathe deeper, and trust more boldly. One day you will look back and see that the days you called slow were actually the days God was closest. He was stitching your faith back together. He was rewiring your courage. He was building strength into your bones. He was teaching you the patience that only those who have suffered truly understand. He was preparing your testimony, shaping a story that will one day comfort someone else walking the same dark valley. And when the healing finally breaks forth like morning light, when your strength returns, when your breath deepens, when your steps steady and your joy blooms again, you will realize that you did not walk 1 inch of that journey alone. God was there in every sigh, every tear, every whisper, every heartbeat. Recovery guided by faith is not always easy, but it is always holy. Because each step forward is a step with God. Each moment of rest is a moment in His arms. Each day you endure is a day He strengthens you. So walk this journey gently. Walk it patiently. Walk it with the quiet confidence that comes from knowing the healer Himself is holding your hand. You may feel the ache of the moment, but you are also walking toward the miracle of tomorrow. God is shaping something beautiful in you, through you, for you. And though the journey may be long, the destination, wholeness, strength, restoration, peace, is worth every step. A miracle does not always arrive with trumpets or blazing lights. Sometimes it comes softly, like a breath you didn't know you were holding. Sometimes it begins quietly, like a whisper rising in the hollow place between your pain and your hope. And sometimes, sometimes it begins long before you realize it. Healing, true healing, often starts before the body feels it, before the mind recognizes it, before the heart dares to believe it. A miracle is already in motion, even when everything around you still looks the same. You may not see it yet, but God has already stepped into your situation. He has already placed His hand upon your worry, His light upon your darkness, His strength upon your weakness. While you were sleeping in the fragile hours of the night, God was working. While you cried quietly into your pillow, God was moving. While you wondered if you would ever feel whole again, God was stitching together the pieces of your healing behind the veil of the unseen. So many people believe a miracle is only real when the pain disappears or the sickness ends. But the miracle does not begin at the end. It begins at the very moment you surrender your suffering into God's hands. It begins at the moment you whisper, Lord, help me. It begins at the moment your spirit opens, your faith breathes, and your heart dares to trust again. The miracle begins long before the evidence appears. Like the first hint of dawn before the sun climbs the sky, your healing begins in the invisible. Like the subtle shift in the wind before a storm breaks, your restoration begins with a holy stirring that no one else can feel but you. And even if you cannot feel it yet, God is working nonetheless. There is something profoundly powerful about believing in a miracle before you can see it. It requires a faith that leans forward, that reaches beyond the present pain, that stretches toward the promise God has spoken over your life. That kind of faith is not naive. It is courageous. It is refined in hardship. It is born in the very soil of struggle. You may feel weak today, but don't mistake weakness for defeat. Weakness is simply the place where God's power chooses to sit. Weakness is the holy ground where miracles take root. Weakness is a place where God speaks most tenderly, saying, "My strength is made perfect here." So when you feel fragile, know that you are standing at the threshold of something sacred. The miracle is not a spark. It is a slow, steady flame that God kindles in secret until the moment you are strong enough to see it. And every prayer you have whispered, every tear you have cried, every breath you have fought for has watered the soil where your miracle is growing. You may wonder why you still feel pain. You may question why the journey is long. You may fear that nothing is changing. But miracles unfold in seasons, not seconds. A seed does not bloom the day it is planted. A tree does not rise the moment it is rooted. Healing does not always happen the minute you ask for it. But just because you do not see the change does not mean the change isn't happening. God often works in silence, in hiddenness, in ways that defy human understanding. Your miracle has already begun because God has already begun His work in you. He has breathed strength into your weary places. He has lifted despair from your tired heart. He has poured peace into the chaos of your thoughts. He has stirred hope where fear once lived. Healing is not only the removal of pain. Healing is the return of wholeness. And wholeness is a process. It is a rebuilding. It is a reawakening. It is a remembrance of who you are in God's eyes, even when sickness tries to make you forget. One day you will look back on this season and realize that the miracle was unfolding the entire time. In every morning you found courage to rise. In every moment you refused to give up. In every quiet hour when you chose faith over fear. These are the threads of the miracle God is weaving. And soon, oh so soon, you will see what He has been crafting. You will feel strength returning to your body like a warm tide. You will feel clarity rising in your mind like fresh air. You will feel joy blooming in your spirit like a garden after rain. You will feel the heaviness lifting, the fear dissolving, the peace settling gently upon your shoulders. Your healing will not arrive as a surprise. It will arrive as the natural fruit of God's presence in your life. Because your miracle did not begin today, it began the first moment God chose you, loved you, and covered you with His grace. So hold on. Hold on to the quiet hope inside you. Hold on to the whisper that says something is changing. Hold on to the truth that God is not a halfway healer. He completes every work He begins. And He has already begun a miracle in you. Even now it is unfolding. Even now it is strengthening you. Even now it is preparing to rise like morning light. One day soon you will wake up and notice